update from the AI comedy channel that tried to create an entirely new comedy special by George Carlin using AI. And then it came out that like George Carlin's family absolutely under no circumstances wanted him to be resurrected by AI. And now we have the follow-up where the people behind that channel have a response. And you know, we're gonna go over that response, because why not?
Do you think it's art?
Because I'm genuinely curious to see if they have any like remorse, any feelings like what they did was wrong, puppeteering like a dead man against the wishes of his family, you know? So genuinely curious about this one. I believe most of the podcast is not about that, but we're gonna skip ahead to where they talk about it.
Last week, I released my second hour-long stand-up special that I called George Carlin, I'm Glad I'm Dead. It was my impression of one of the greatest stand-up comics of all time. And the reaction has been overwhelming. I just want to...
My impression. That doesn't work. Giving an impression of somebody only works if you're a person doing it. If you're just fabricating it with an AI, that's not your impression. There's no skill involved there. It's literally just like puppeteering his dead words. It is ghoulish.
To say a heartfelt thank you to everyone who shared their feedback across social media. I loved all the critiques and all the compliments. Everyone's strong reactions to the piece have given me an incredible amount of delicious data, which I'll use to make my next project even better. Will and Chad, I'm very curious to know what you both think of the reactions so far. I'm going to read some comments and get your reactions to those reactions. This is reactions to my second stand-up special. I'll read them to you now.
We got to listen to the
yeah, dude.
The
I'm ready.
All right.
I'm ready for this shit.
Sure. We'll see.
The first one is from...
Is that Will Sasso? Yep.
From @IWriteOK via X. It reads, Hey, @ChadColtGen, your birth was a mistake, and so was your life. You are the lowest form of scum that exists. The same is true of your partner in this act of cultural necrophilia.
Well, I mean, what can you say to that? All births are technically, I wouldn't say mistakes necessarily, but they're at least accidental. It's just a statistical probability of whether the sperm inseminates the egg, and that is carried to a viable birth. And indeed, all of our lives are based on a...
Is he debating the criticism that he's committed an act of cultural necrophilia?
String of arbitrary randomness.
Yeah,
so I kind of agree with that.
Yeah, sure.
But I don't think that of you.
Thanks. I don't think that of you either. I think this person...
Yes, this is Will Sasso's show, and it is made... It's like Will Sasso and... I don't know if this other guy on the show is the other co-host or a guest.
Person is a little wound up and needs to remember.
Oh, if it is Chad something, then that's that is indeed the two people who run this. Yeah.
That it is not, in fact, George Carlin. Of course, Dudesy points that out and says this is an impression of George Carlin, not unlike other impressions and stuff. It is interesting, though, how heated people...
exactly.
people
This
got.
comment to me speaks to there was like genuine rage, like outright anger that this piece of art even exists.
Yeah.
And you have to...
It's not art. You used an algorithm to like read all of the things that George Carlin put into the world, and then you like puppeteered his voice to read AI generated lines. Like that's not art. Like you bastardized his skill and his performances.
to look back and think to yourself, why is it this? There have been many AI George Carlin things done on the internet over the past year. Many. You can
Yeah, but no one's putting them out as full-on goddamn comedy specials, and saying stuff along the lines of, "Oh man, if he was still alive, this is what he'd be saying today." Like, you're stealing agency from this dead man and his family.
and just Google AI George Carlin and you'll get a bunch. None of them got this kind of a reaction. Nobody was calling people mistakes that should be dead and all these types of things, getting death threats. I got some DMs that were like, not too nice, to say the least. And so what is it about this one that is different? And I have to say, I think it's in the other ones, it was just kind of like, look, we can kind of mimic his voice. This is not only mimicking that, it's taking the art form itself, an hour long of stand-up comedy. That is the art form for stand-up comedians, and saying, I can do the art form as well. It's not just a parlor trick. It's at least an attempt at doing that. And I'm not saying it's an exact mimicry. I don't think it is at all.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it is a parlor trick. I think it is. But I hear what you're saying. Maybe people get a little miffed that it's... Look, the 1 hour special is something that is a time-honored thing and an honor for a comedian to get to that, that space where they've got these specials. Look, or for anybody.
Yeah.
But George Carlin is George fucking Carlin.
Yeah.
And the man's done more specials on, I mean, he had a long-standing partnership with HBO. And
yeah, and you ran all of that through, like, an AI wood chipper and, like, cobbled together, like, Frankenstein together, a 1 hour comedy special and had, like, his voice read it against the wishes of his family. Like, this is like, what we just weakened that Bernie's George Carlin's corpse on the stage and had them performed. We had a puppeteer up there moving his arms around just like he would have in real life. He looked practically real, his corpse being manipulated around by wires and pulleys. What an art form! The art form of puppeteering. And it's just like, what? But like, the family didn't want you to puppeteer his dead body on stage. Like, they're horrified by this. And they're like, but it's art though.
did, like, I don't know, like 15 to 20 specials or something like that. And I think people
I would consider putting out a, like, comedy special claiming to be, like, in like a spiritual, not even a spiritual successor, like a direct successor to Carlin's legacy and his comedy, and having it perform with his voice under those circumstances. I do consider that extraordinarily ghoulish. Yeah. I don't know under what circumstance that would ever be acceptable. Like, this is just the digital version of the puppeteering thing.
Get precious about that. I think people get precious about what a special is, because it is a comedian touring, working on their craft, and coming up with, here's my new hour. It's a big deal. So I hear what you're saying. To get that, to have people are responding now to that in part.
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a gigantic show of skill to get a 1 hour comedy special, and you guys literally just wood chippered his comedy and reassembled it poorly, like, and then acted like it was a bold artistic statement.
The outrage and, like, the downright anger of it is what was interesting to me. Like I said, other George Carlins exist. There's Carl Sagan. There's Steve Jobs. There's all kinds of dead people who've been brought back with AI.
I mean, I don't want to, like, go and, like, we're not. I don't want to risk, like, any kind of, like, DMCA or anything.
He's here or there, but you have to admit, this is pretty close to the George Carlin you remember, and that's going to have to be good enough, so you might as well fucking enjoy it.
This is what the comedy special is for an hour.
And nobody seems to have cared really at this level until now. And I do think it has to do with that. But also, to your point, that it's like the standard tradition of stand-up comedy is that you do go out and you hone your stuff, and it takes a long time to get a good piece of material worked up, and it's through human experience that you have all these things. And AI is now coming along and basically saying, well, I can do all of that almost instantaneously. I don't need to put in the time or the effort, because in terms of like intellectual capability, AI is beyond anything a human being can do.
Wrong. Yeah, absolutely wrong, Chad. Art.
It's just my thoughts, by the way.
And you're wrong. And you're
Okay.
not a mistake, but you're wrong.
Yeah,
you made a
sure.
mistake.
Fine.
You are, Chad, you are preordained. You are.
I don't agree with that.
You are here
Yeah.
by just the universe
Randomness.
dropped you right here,
Yeah, it's
and we all love
completely
you
random.
very much. But you
Thank
are
you.
wrong. Art is
Yeah, this is the show. Dudesy is the name of the AI. And I guess I think that they do like this comedy show with Dudesy, or this podcast with Dudesy. Like Dudesy like will read out lines sometimes or questions. But like, yeah.
human to human. I've said that over and
But
over.
yeah, this is the show that made the AI Carlin. This is their official response to everyone else responding.
Over again. And even though, hey, I'm on a podcast, it's run by an AI. It doesn't matter. It's us. We're the two dudes shitting around. And with this, I got to tell you, fucking parlor trick.
But-
it was awesome for an AI.
Okay, but now you have said that art is like human to human and it evokes human emotion.
I don't want to see somebody who's not George Carlin talking,
Sure.
doing that.
But
When
do
you
you
watch
think-
a George Carlin special, hey, holy, hey.
No, just keep
No,
yelling.
go
keep
ahead.
yelling. When you watch a George Carlin special, or anything for that matter, don't you think that it's like the human emotional response is what is the important thing about art, that it triggers those things in it?
Okay, let's.
This guy is saying that we are mistakes.
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
the emotional response to this has been very strong. I think we can both agree on that. So this piece of art, whether made by a human or AI, triggered an extremely strong emotional response. And by the way, all of these responses, in my mind, completely valid. Whatever you're feeling when you watch this is valid. Whether you hate it, you hate us, you love it, you love us, all of it is valid, in my opinion.
Yeah, but what were you saying about eliciting a response? So you're saying just because this thing elicited a response, that makes
Okay, I know that this is completely irrelevant to anything they're talking about, but these dudes are perfect examples of why men need to moisturize more often. Like, their skin is crunchy as fuck.
it art. That makes it art.
Hey,
Do you think it's
Malachi.
art?
Here's what I'll say. It's half art.
Okay.
Because the
The old half art.
the old half art
I'm a
argument.
half artist.
Well, look, when you watch a George Carlin special, when
Yeah.
you see George Carlin do his thing, it is magical, and it's
For
just
sure.
like when you look in the eyes of the AI. Who's the character in the AI? The Star Wars, not Princess Leia, but the other guy. Who's
What?
that? The guy with the captain and the. Anyway, you watch the Star Wars movie.
What?
You know, hey, you know that fucking Star Wars movie?
Star Wars is half art. The new ones, anyway.
Hey,
What is happening? Yeah, when you go watch a Star Wars, you know what they're talking about? What? No one does.
Thank you.
they put a new person in the old person's
They
eyes.
did Carrie Fisher.
When you do Carrie Fisher, you look in their eyes, it's something, it's soulless.
That's called the Uncanny Valley.
It's called what?
Uncanny Valley.
So anyway, here's the thing about that. There's no physical
Oh,
representation of George
Tarkin.
Carlin in this
Okay.
special for you to
Correct.
see. You see the back of someone who, could be the George Carlin. I think Dudesy's choice there to not include George Carlin's face was good.
I do
Because
too.
that's when you see the soullessness. Now, this is what I mean by half art.
Okay.
The response.
What do you mean, Dudesy's choice? Like, did you just have it generate the entire special whole cloth? Not just like you generated the audio special and then like added the images after the fact with AI prompts? What is their process here?
Response from the people, that's real. That's very real, and that's a response to art. But when you see George Carlin on stage, and I immediately went and to cleanse my palate after watching that, I watched Complaints and Grievances.
I watched a bunch of his stuff too.
Did you really?
Because I don't think that this was George Carlin replicated, and I don't even think that was the intent of it.
Young Black
But
Econ.
what it did make me do is there was enough of him in it. There was enough of it hinted at that I was like, fuck, I need to see the real thing immediately.
Yeah.
You know?
And when you go and watch the real thing, you're reminded of this magic that only George Carlin can do.
Sure.
And for that reason, with respect to my pal D, I found it to be half artistic endeavor.
But it's interesting that you say this thing about soullessness. Do you think that human beings who make computer generated art, like everything that Beeple does, Beeple crap,
Beeple crap,
is that
Love
art
Beeple.
or not? Because there's no human.
What is Beeple? What is he talking about? What is this? He's known for being a digital artist, graphic designer, and animator, known for selling NFTs. Huh. I don't know much about this guy, but I guess. What the fuck is this? Alright.
In that image, they are all soulless CGI representations of Elon Musk or whoever. Is that art?
Who did you say makes that?
Beeple crap.
Beeple crap. Is that a person?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's
So
art.
if a person using computer tools can make art, then that's art?
We agree there.
Okay.
That's art. That's the tool.
Just laying down the
AI should
fundamentals.
be-
All right. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
This next one is from @Buffalo1979 via Instagram. It reads, LMAO, Jesus Christ, put away your pitchforks. It's actually funny and interesting. Those of us that aren't idiots know it isn't really George or trying to replace him in any way. You have literally no reason to be so bothered by this, as it brings attention to the legacy of George.
Yeah, I think he's saying.
Yeah, no, exactly. One hand wonder. What they're doing to play defense here is just like, whoa! It's actually really hard work to be an artist that writes prompts into an AI image generator. It's actually really hard work to type in prompts into an AI text generator. It's really hard, guys. This is just the oh god, what's a Shadiversity videos on AI art all over again. Like this is just the same defense he runs, which is like, it actually takes a lot of artistic endeavor to put in the right series of prompts and then correct them and then add more prompts.
I agree
kind
with
of
that.
what we're saying there.
And that whole idea that this is not trying to replace George Carlin. It's trying to exist.
What is the context for this? What are they doing? I'm so confused. I kind of tuned them out for a while. So what they did, Boiled Peanuts, is they fed all of George Carlin's comedy to an AI algorithm and then had it generate a new comedy special for 2023, 2024, you know? Yeah, 20 years after he died, the original comedian, without the permission of his family, and then they released a new comedy special on their YouTube channel of their Carlin impression. So yeah, basically it's a massive act of plagiarism mixed with like the ghoulishness of the fact that without any permission whatsoever, they like stole this guy's life work and fed it to an algorithm to wood chipper and like Frankenstein together a new comedy special. And they're like sitting there and they have the gall to actually to try and defend it by like, well, it was a lot of work, you know, like fuck off. Let him be dead. Let him be dead. It's what he would have wanted.
simultaneously to all the material that he did while he was traditionally alive. That is the new.
While he was traditionally alive. God, I hate AI tech bros. I hate them so much. Like, AI can do so many cool things. Like, they're using AI to, like, discover new, like, medical treatments and, like, antibacterial, like, treatments for folks in medicine. They're using AI to be able to, like, decipher long dead languages. This is really cool. But using AI to steal the work of, like, a long dead comedian who's beloved as one of the all-time greats is, like, to me, it's ghoulish. Dr. Frankenstein did a lot of work too. Yeah, he did. True.
Era we are in now. You will have AI created art that will reference or try to.
I mean, we Stare is the okay. Like, we still have that. That's still happening right now. It's really cool. It's already led to advances, but, like, in terms of, like, AI art, it's just gonna be a complete clusterfuck from here on out. Like, there's no putting the genie back in the bottle on this one. It's just going to be one long hard slog to, like, kill the the ability to work as a professional artist. That's essentially what's happening.
Way replicate or kind of give you the tone of somebody who might have been around. Like, you're going to see full albums of Nirvana. Those things are going to exist simultaneously to the actual material those people made, and we're just entering a new era of art where AI made art is going to be existing side by side with the actual stuff the original people made. I can tell you're ready to go.
Yeah. But nobody does it better than the original, yeah. Just like the Macho Man does, staring right through the rotoscope at the WWE president, Jack Tunney. Yeah, I'll tell you right now, no Kurt Cobain, no Chris Novoselic, no David Grohl, no Nerve.
See, like, I'll at least give Will Sasso credit here, because, like, this is an impression. What makes it funny and entertaining is the effort that goes into making the impression. Right? It's cringe, but at least it's honest, you know? This is cringe, but at least it's honest. If you had an AI do this, it to me, it's just disgusting.
Nirvana, can't do it. Can't replace the Macho Man. No, I am eternal, even though I am not on this plane of existence anymore. No, my earthly carriage is long gone. Yeah. But
well, see, I don't know. That's the thing, right? What we're seeing in your question, why would you want to bastardize the raw art of Kurt Cobain? What's the point? In your question is the fundamental, like, tension of AI art, which is that AI art is largely being pushed by corporations who don't care about the raw art of Kurt Cobain. They care about the marketing and earning potential of Kurt Cobain sound-alike music. You know, that's what they care about. They care about monetizing essentially a machine that can create infinite art. You know, at least in their minds, what they think art is. They think that they have, like, the ability to just, without any effort on their end, press a button and create a new product to sell. Right? So, that's kind of the main tension here. Whereas I think most people understand that, like, it's not art. It's not made by a human to convey something to a human. It's just something assembled by an AI to sell you a product. You know? At something assembled by an AI at the behest of, like, people who want to fleece you for your money.
I'm here to stay, just like George Carlin, but not the AI kind. That's half art, yeah. I want full art. I want my full George Carlin experience.
Okay, well, this is mildly entertaining me. It also seems to have nothing to do with what they were really talking about.
Give me that full George Carlin. I don't want.
So what is this that you're doing?
Oh, this is an impression I like to do.
Of
them,
somebody who is
especially
no longer with
of
us.
wrestlers. Pardon?
Somebody who is no longer with us.
Rest in peace.
Is this necrophilia, as
Macho.
our first commenter said?
No, it is not.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm damn sure. I know who we love. We love.
But like the reason it's not is because it's a different form of impression than what you use the word impression to say about your AI generated art show. You know? Like he's giving an actual performance and we know he's not actually Macho Man Randy Savage. Like there's no pretense at being that. And he's actually doing the thing.
Round here, these parts,
Round here.
round out in Dudesville,
Yeah.
we love the Macho Man. We love George Carlin. Shit, I used to do impressions, all sorts of folks who are no longer with us on Mad TV. Elvis Presley,
Of course. I just want to say for the record too, I absolutely love George Carlin. I would say in my
Did these people does this guy not have any idea that like what he's proposing is that like his entire like repertoire of impressions that he's been honing his entire life as a professional comedian are no like just aren't applicable anymore. Like he's literally arguing that we should let AI do that. Let the AI do the impression. The AI impression is going to be so much better than his impression that like what is he trying to flex here? Like the AI impression of Carlin, for example, is better than either of their impressions of Carlin. So like why would anyone go to them to under their own like ideological framework? Why would anyone go to them to hear impressions of Randy Savage or George Carlin if they can just get it from an AI?
Of course. I just want to say for the record too, I absolutely love George Carlin. I would say in my formative years, George Carlin and Carl Sagan were probably a 50-50 in terms of influence over the person I am currently right now.
50-50 is half and half, yeah. You got 50% on one side, yeah. And that means there's gonna be another side. And for Chad Kultgen, yeah, he's got half Carl Sagan, yeah. But he's also got the other half, yeah. George Carlin, very elemental, all sorts of words together, coming up with thoughts.
Here's another one at AI is a boring name. Wrote this on YouTube. Profiting off of dead comedians' likeness because you don't have any talent of your own. Classic AI bro ploy. Interesting comment. I'll handle this one, guys.
Oh.
The George Carlin I'm Glad I'm Dead YouTube video was never monetized. So there's no profit at all. If you're seeing ads in the video, YouTube is taking all that money. I just wanted to share my art with the world. I love comedy so much, I did it for the love of the game.
Look at that.
That doesn't make it better to the people like the family estate. Also, obviously, it get like you do kind of profit off of it in a sideways fashion based on more people becoming aware of Dudesy and this AI project and getting more eyeballs on your work.
Yeah, nice.
Can't argue with that.
Yeah.
All right. That's nice.
Up next, we have one from at ReedSeed26 via Instagram. It reads simply, well, we had a good run.
Okay. This one is kind of speaking to, I think, the very generalized fear that a lot of people have of AI, that it's going to fucking Terminator us and this is going to be Skynet and replace us. I just don't think that's what this is. AI is a new tool that is going to be utilized in every facet of life. Anybody who's even writing these comments, are you writing it on a computer? Are you using a cell phone? Are you driving a car? All of these have AI in them now, or they will have it in them very soon. To me, it's just the next paintbrush. You're going to be able to make new kinds of art that have never existed before. And I think this Carlin special is kind of one of those things. And this happens with all technology.
This is not a paintbrush. This is not you wielding anything. This is, again, being like, I wish there was a George Carlin comedy special, and you type that in to the AI algorithm, and it just serves you whatever slop it puts together from the bits and pieces of dead people.
The camera comes out. You now have photography as an art. And when it came out, painters and art critics were like, this is an abomination. This isn't art. This is fucking horrible. Do away with the camera. Now we've all
Bob Dylan
got him in
and the
our
electric
fucking...
guitar.
Yes,
Sorry
exactly.
to cut you off.
No, it's exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't think AI's...
It's not exactly the same thing. I'm sorry. Like, just real quick. Okay? Okay. So I just typed into this AI art generator, a redheaded milkmaid on a riverboat. Okay, we're generating some AI art. I am right now about to become an artist. Okay. This is truly the art of the future. I am wielding the paintbrush right now. Look at that. Look at that. I'm an artist now. Hey everybody, I'm an artist. I made this. What website did you use? I just used hotpot.ai. I'm an artist now. I have wielded the paintbrush. And, really only a unique and hyper-advanced mind like mine could come up with a prompt like, a red-headed milkmaid on a riverboat. I'm an artist now. I'm basically Rembrandt.
Is going to replace us or destroy us. I think it's going to make our lives infinitely better.
Well, I guess.
And now here's one from @JRoBusto6407 via YouTube. It reads, the craziest part is that there's still people here that don't believe this is AI generated and all these are human made. LOL, yeah. Writers are so selfless that they don't care if they're credited or known. Let's believe that instead.
An interesting comment. Clearly Dudesy made this, but anyone could have made it with technology that is readily available to every person on planet Earth right now. If you wanted to make something like this, this is what you would do. You would start by going and watching all of George Carlin's specials, listening to all of his albums, watching all of his interviews, any piece of material that George Carlin has ever made. You would ingest that. You would take meticulous notes, probably putting them in a Google spreadsheet so that you could keep track of all the subjects he liked to talk about, what his attitudes about those subjects were, the relevance of them in all of his stand-up specials. You would then take all of his stand-up specials and do an average word count to see just how long they are. You would then take all that information and write a brand new special, hitting that average word count. You would then take that script and upload it into any number of AI voice generators. You would then get yourself a subscription to Midjourney or ChatGPT to make all the images in that video. And then you would string them together into a long timeline, output that video, put it on YouTube. I'm telling you, anyone could have made this. I could have made this.
Sure. Anybody. Yeah, just do that. Just do that.
Like, as somebody with a background in literature, guys, like, there's a difference between someone going through the entire collected works of Carlin, figuring out, like, some of the basic patterns he might have replicated, and then using that as a springboard for their own comedy, or writing, like, a tribute set, like, for like, in honor of George Carlin. Like, those are different projects. What he's describing here is just ripping off George Carlin in the most blatant and most artistically bankrupt way. There's no art involved here. Traditionally alive is the worst phrase ever. Well, yeah, because this guy believes that people aren't really dead anymore because their work can be eternally plagiarized.
Anyone? All right. I don't know.
Our next comment is from @RealElMaximo via Instagram. It reads, I hope the enormous and well-deserved backlash over this does...
As somebody who's been working on AI for the last little while, I'm about to get my Microsoft AI certification. A team of a handful of developers could do this in a week. Yeah.
...doesn't endanger this year's hostess Ding Dong Eat-a-thon.
Is that gonna? I hope it doesn't get in the way. I hope that the people in their comments and their strong reactions don't do something to
You know, this is a good point, winners and losers. Anyone can fart on camera. Real farts are a trillion times more legit as art than what this guy is describing and defending. I hate this crap. You're right. You should only watch content creators who provide you with the highest quality fart content, okay? I agree. Only people who are willing to stare straight into the camera and say fart, I don't know, I'm spitballing here, like over 150 times, should be trusted with your attention and monetary support. This is true. This is true. I agree.
Derail the hostess Ding Dong Eat-a-thon. Now the hostess Ding Dong Eat-a-thon is...
I was wondering if he was going to do a Jesse Ventura impression, and I was not disappointed.
Created a partnership with AI George Carlin special.
Oh.
I'm Glad I'm Dead for the hostess Ding Dong AI George Carlin.
Wait, is Jesse Ventura dead? I don't think he's dead yet. Yeah, nah, he's still alive. He's 72 years old.
Ding Dong Eat-a-thon and internet comment George Carlin darling of the week.
Oh my God.
I don't know. You know.
How about this one from @RRHorrocks via Instagram, who writes, if AI impersonation is scary or evil or wrong, how do you feel about a person using a voice or wearing a mask? Is that equally evil or wrong? If not, then your argument is flawed and your perspective is skewed. And you should analyze that about yourself. If SNL, Mad TV, etc. impersonating everybody under the sun is fine, but this is over the line, I think you're just scared of technology.
No, there's a clear difference. On the one hand, you have, like, the parody of, like, dressing up as someone, which is something that can be very funny as, like, a physical act of comedy. But then you also have, like, the physical performance beyond just, like, the costuming. You have the vocal work, then you have the jokes. Like, there's multiple layers of performance art involved in, like, doing impressions on SNL. Granted, SNL is not very good anymore. At least last time I saw it, I wanted to not exist anymore. But, like, this is wild, dude. Well, thanks for coming here, T. Smith.
It's not a moral stand. It's technophobia.
100% agree.
Yeah, I don't know. That's nice, but again,
Distron, you're thinking of Richard Wolff.
I half agree.
I think that, Yeah, but the thing that's different about this is that it's AI. The
I know
dudes he
that's
spat out.
technophobia, like the guy's saying. That's the only difference.
Yeah, but he's using as an example things like, you know, sketch shows, right? Where it's like those are people doing
Here,
those
dude,
things.
I'll use.
It's just not.
Let me use another example on you. Andy Warhol famously made his Marilyn Monroe silkscreen like a week after she died or something. It was a portrait of her, and I mean, he didn't make it specifically. He had somebody else make it. It was his concept, but he put no labor into that art that his name is on and is super famous. But it was a portrait of her. I think now what has happened with this Carlin thing, the AI is the paintbrush, and that special is a portrait of Carlin. It's not saying this is.
Wait, I don't think what he said about Andy Warhol's Marilyn Monroe piece is necessarily correct. Just out of, let's see. Okay, here we go. For Warhol, the actress was already a familiar subject. He initially began depicting Marilyn Monroe in the pop art silkscreen Marilyn Diptych, 1962, shortly after her death. The Marilyn Diptych is a silkscreen painting which contains 50 images of the actress, all taken from the 1953 film Niagara. Warhol explained, "In August of '62, I started doing silkscreens. I wanted something stronger that gave more of an assembly line effect. With silkscreening, you pick up a photograph, blow it up, transfer it in glue onto silk, and then roll ink across it so the ink goes through the silk but not through the glue. That way you get the same image, slightly different each time. It was all so simple and quick and chancy. I was thrilled with it. When Marilyn Monroe happened to die that month, I got the idea to make screens of her beautiful face, the first Marilyns." So he did make it. Like, this guy is just making this up whole cloth. What are you talking about? Like, he was using the mass commercially, the image that the masses would associate with Marilyn Monroe from the height of her acting career, and using it to make like a commercialization point, which is like a lot of what Andy Warhol did with his art.
Is George Carlin. In fact, at the beginning of it, Dudes even says, this is not George Carlin. It is a tribute. You can like it or not. That's a subjective choice. But that is what this piece of art is. It's not meant to replace him. It's meant to be just in the same way that impressions you do are tributes to the people you're doing the impressions of. It's the exact same thing, in my mind.
I got to tell you, George Carlin, New York, born and bred.
Yeah.
Is someone who, through whom's experiences we have gotten to enjoy an incredible. I can't say enough about what this man has done with his career and what he did to comedy.
Yeah,
it's like a piece of New York pizza. You know, George Carlin is the perfect piece of New York pizza. Of pizza,
okay,
yeah, okay.
What?
And what I mean by that is, you know, you get the thin crust New York pizza, right? It's all crispy on the bottom of the dough, you know, and then the top, the dough that's hitting the sauce, and where the sauce meets the dough, and it's all gooey and fucking cheese and whatever toppings, right? Delicious. In my truck right now, I got a bag of sunflower seeds. They're pizza flavored, okay? So they're not, and I like them.
Yeah.
I was driving down the 405 with the fucking wind in my face because I didn't have a cup to spit them in, just spitting them out the window the other day.
I thought they stopped lobotomies. Me too.
It's not pizza. It's not pizza. Yeah. It gives you it's that same powdered flavoring they put on. Have you ever had pizza potato chips?
Never have.
Oh man, you're missing out. Look, all the fake pizza flavors, I'll enjoy them all day long until I've had so much fucking salt that I just can't even get off the couch. And my head looks like a fucking volleyball. I love salty snacks. What was my point again? Oh yeah,
I'm lost in this. I think you were making pizza versus sunflower seed analogy.
I was making a very intelligent analogy about George Carlin is the perfect whatever, what have you, and the sunflower seeds are an intentional facsimile. I believe that George Carlin
Is the pizza.
Pizza. AI George Carlin, I'm glad
Dude's
I'm
eat the
dead.
sunflower seed.
Is pizza sunflower
In
seeds.
that analogy.
Guys, I'm the sunflower seed Rembrandt. Look at this. I created a new artwork. I changed the prompt to a red-headed milkmaid on a steam riverboat with a narwhal. And look, there it is. Perfect in every way. No notes. 10 out of 10. I am the sunflower seed Rembrandt, okay? You think Rembrandt would have narwhals? No, I'm better. I'm a better artist than Rembrandt.
You're eating them both, pal. So I think you've proven the point. Thank you.
I proved my fucking point. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Whatever.
And finally, I want to read what George Carlin's daughter Kelly had to say on X. She wrote, "My statement regarding the AI generated George Carlin's special. My dad spent a lifetime perfecting his craft from his very human life, brain and imagination. No machine will ever replace his genius. These AI-generated products are clever attempts at trying to recreate a mind that will never exist again. Let's let the artist's work speak for itself. Humans are so afraid of the void that we can't let what has fallen into it stay there. Here's an idea. How about we give some actual living human comedians a listen to? But if you want to listen to the genuine George Carlin, he has 14 specials that you can find anywhere."
I can't. Okay, guys, if you are two podcast hosts and you're sitting down to plan your response to having created something that has deeply offended the living relatives of a beloved person who has passed away, and their main critique is that you bastardized their loved one's legacy by having it performed by an AI, and then you read her statement with an AI. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Why would you do that? Of all the ways you could handle this problem, why would you do that? Why would you choose this one? Yeah, exactly, Migs. That's my primary thing, right? Like, even if they had created a perfect recreation of George Carlin, a perfect new stand-up special that was hilarious, it would still be deeply offensive to me, regardless of the quality that it is bringing to the table, right? It would be deeply offensive to me because it flies in the face of what art is all about. Art is about communication. It's about communicating human ideas to other humans, or at least other sentient beings, right? The mass commodification of AI art is not doing that. Hey, Sheckley.
She's absolutely right.
Yeah, couldn't agree with her more.
What do you mean you couldn't agree with her more? If you couldn't agree with her more, then what the fuck are you saying?
She's saying that it will never replace George Carlin or human stand-ups. I'm agreeing with that.
That's what I'm saying.
This
Pizza and
exists side by
sunflower
side.
seeds.
It exists side by side. AI is a different art form than humans doing stand-up comedy or anything else. It's a different thing. It's not trying to replace anything.
This is this is correct in a very technical sense, where, like, yeah, AI art isn't trying to do anything. It just is a thing that exists now, right? It's that's the same way, like, painting as a concept exists. It doesn't have to try to do anything. Painting as a concept doesn't have to try to do anything. But what is happening is that the capitalistic forces of our world do want the AI art to replace all human art. Because then they don't have to pay artists. Do you know how much more profitable media companies could be if they didn't have to pay their artists? So, like, the people who are pushing, like, AI art the most are the ones who want to profit off of it in the long term. George would have hated this so much. Yeah, I played like 2 seconds of one of his comedy specials where he's talking about death and how satisfying it is to delete the fucker out of your address book once somebody dies. It's a good bit. But like I feel like he would have a very similar thought process regarding like AI versions of himself, you know?
The only point I would make is I don't quite agree that the void exists anymore, because I think if you make data, it will outlive you.
Well,
but no, I agree with her. And in terms of like
That's
watching
insane.
real stand-ups, you know, human stand-ups, and as especially George Carlin, it's what I did immediately after I watched this thing. I
think,
couldn't help myself.
You know, and so did I. Like I said, I watched one of his specials and just was brought back to, you know, we had a couple of the albums when I was a kid, and I love George Carlin. He's in my, I mean, he's the GOAT. He's George Carlin, but he's also in my top 3. I love the man, and I love his art work, and art is human to human. And if nothing else, I believe, you know, she makes a wonderful point. Hopefully any attention that this has gotten at the end of the day makes people and young people go, I want to watch some George Carlin. And if people are watching George Carlin,
It's insane to me that they're trying to spin this as like, oh, well, people watch this and want to watch the original Carlin. What? Just dedicate an episode of your show to talking about how people should go watch Carlin. Like, what? You don't need to make an entire AI comedy show that claims to be like Carlin talking from the grave to make that happen.
Real George Carlin, then, you know, the world will be a better place, because we do need him. We need him, and we got him.
Of course.
He's out there, and the shit that he says can be applied to the stuff nowadays, which is why and how our good pal D put it all together, whipped it up, and said, here's what he'd say about mass shootings. Here's what he'd say about this, that, and the other thing.
I'll say this on top of this too, as just maybe my final thought here on like AI generally. This conversation is going to be irrelevant in about 3 years.
Here he fucking goes.
What do you mean here he fucking goes? AI is going to be used in everything, every form of making all art. Unless you specifically are like, I'm not using AI in this art, and that becomes kind of a gimmicky thing, like how some directors will shoot on film now because they're not going to use a digital camera.
Yeah.
It becomes like a weird little arty thing that you can do. And that will still be the case. You'll have some of that. But AI is going to be used in everything. Every movie you see, AI will be used in it. And the models that are used now, large language models.
The thing is, what he's talking about when he's talking about AI has, like, the AI that they use for like in movies and what they use it for varies widely. It varies widely. Like, sometimes when people are talking about AI, they're not talking about large language models, like or image generators. They're talking about like being able to have more realistic movement in, like, you know, battle scenes where there are like 10 million people on screen. You know, like that's what they're using it for, and like I think that's fine. That doesn't reduce the need for like humans to express their art in that art form. You know, it's like there are so many ways that AI is used in non harmful or hurtful ways. Another example of this would be like AI that is used to help with God, what am I trying to think of? Like developing Malachi, like developing like procedurally generated planets in like a video game or something like that. But the thing is, like, when you're talking about procedurally generating things, you still got to put like human work into that. You know? Lighting engines could rely on AI generation. You know, we got some of that coming out now with like Nvidia's stuff, but like, yeah, exactly, Sheckley. Like, when we're talking about the AI that like Peter Jackson developed for Lord of the Rings, Like, that's a different thing than what we're talking about when we're talking about, like, these large language models just instantly generating you a comedy special. These are different technologies that just have an umbrella term AI. Or like how video game decision making for like NPCs is determined by something we call AI, but it isn't actually like an AI that would be at all recognizable for like what we're talking about in like movies and stuff like that. Like these are all very different types of technology that fit under this nebulous term. Yeah, like exactly, Lilith. It doesn't mean anything. And so when he's going around talking about all these different ambiguous circumstances, like he's talking about like at least like 3 or 4 different technologies with what he just talked about, right? And that bothers me because he's so proud of the horrific way he used AI in this circumstance. And part of the reason he's proud is because he just doesn't understand AI.
This is kind of where a big debate is brewing. Obviously, there's the big case, New York Times versus OpenAI, where can you train these large language models on copywritten material or not? That's up for debate right now. That said, the next wave of AI is not large language models. It's going to be Q learning, and those models will make their own data, trained on nothing but their own experience. So there's no copyright claim to even be made. In about 3-4 years, I think that's when that's going to be happening. So we're at the very forefront of it now, but very soon, this entire conversation will dissipate because everybody's going to be watching AI-generated shit on their phones, Netflix, whatever, however you watch your stuff. It's going to be making things for you on an at-will basis.
Do you think that AI could get, help a company that makes salty snacks to make a sunflower seed that tastes exactly like New York pizza?
To who? That's subjective.
Okay, Chad.
Thank you. Moving on.
I agree with him there. Art is subjective.
Dude,
Even half art.
I'm going to do something right now. You may like this, you may not like this, but at the end of our Dudesy After Dudesy, I think last week, I said eventually I was going to call my shot about winning that fucking belt. I think after what just happened, how you were kind of shitting on what D did, guess what?
What?
I'm calling my shot.
Give me a fucking
I'm
break.
taking the fucking belt at the end of this goddamn show. Mark my
Today?
words. Today.
Okay.
The belt's coming back home.
Chad, you...
Okay. I do not care anymore. I don't understand. I guess I just don't understand AI bro brain. Like when they think about these things, when they are developing their ideas on this, like I don't get it.